Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sofia Event Centre here in lovely Bulgaria. We are on the precipice, the very cusp of our final match for the day. It's going to be WUSA going up against Kazna crew, a matchup I'm sure a lot of you guys have been waiting to see. I've got to give a shout out to the crowd, by the way. We've still got plenty of people here despite the night is getting on a little bit. So big shouts to you guys and thank you, of course, for joining us on the stream. Great to have you with us. Now, normally I'd have a little bit of a yarn to the captains, but they are deep in the map picks here. I might even be able to get Hyber up on stage for a quick chat. Yeah, he's just here. Just finished the map picking. Thanks for joining me. Now, you had a bit of a break beforehand to watch the games. Would you rather be in WUSA's position of having just played one, still being fresh, or not fresh, but sort of warmed up, or would you prefer to have had the break and had time to think?
Well, actually, last LAN we were in WUSA shoes. We had a game, we lost it for the semifinals, and then immediately we had to play, and it didn't really felt good. So I guess I like our chances more.
Okay, well, I mean, been a lot of, plenty of time to talk, I suppose, with the guys. It's been a bit of an up and down day. I mean, in the first game of the day, probably not the result you would have wanted. When we managed to pull it back, of course, and you guys were probably the loudest team, as usual, we normally have up here. What did you say to the guys? Like, what has been the main message you're trying to deliver to your team?
Well, mainly it was just to relax and play our game. Not do stupid mistakes or not do anything while we are playing. Just pick something, go for it, do it, fight fair and square, and see what happens. If we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. But we need to go for it, not let game happen next to us, basically.
Okay, well, let's see if that comes into action. Thank you for joining me, Hyber, on the stage. And good luck to you guys as well. Going to be a huge match, this next one here. Now, we're a little bit busy at the moment, so I won't have a chat to Sish, but I'm sure they're already getting ready to roll out. It's game on, ladies and gentlemen. Last game of the day. WUSA going up against the Kazna crew. Let's hear what the experts have to say.
Well, I really think that WUSA must be busy. I actually ran into a few of them just on the quick break, and I feel that nerves are on end, and they really, really, really don't like their situation. As Hyber just said, it's not nice coming off a loss and immediately having to play. I believe you guys have done that as well. You got experience doing that yourselves in offline tournaments?
Mojo has.
You definitely need some rest to calm your thoughts, to not get heated up in a match, and then you can tacticize and do whatever. Like when you enter like this, it's not a very pleasant situation.
Yeah, I can imagine him not wanting to do the interview right now, just having to keep morale under control, keep everyone calm and talk.
WUSA guys are quite, I would describe them as joyful people. Yeah. They're not taking this hard. I think they will keep
I'm thinking they're taking it seriously. I think I passed Snitsel, and he didn't want to talk. He literally just walked straight past me, no eye contact, nothing. I feel like he's wanting to think and stay in the zone, not relax, just keep on focusing. And I feel that WUSA's in that place right now. At least they're trying to be in that place. So, right, let's do the head-to-head. Okay, so we have seen both these teams a few times. So Kazna crew versus WUSA, strengths versus weaknesses. What do you think?
Well, it's pretty much the attacking team versus the defending team. WUSA has shown us really good attacking movements. They won more attacking sides in the regular season than defending. And on the other hand, Kazna won more as a defender than attacker. So it's attacker versus defender, pretty much.
What do you think, Mojo?
Well, last time they met, it was not that far away. It was match week 10. Kazna barely won. It was 5-4.
Oh, so it was a close game.
It was another one close.
All right, so without giving me a 50-50 result, you're going to have to side with one or the other. First, Wilkie, just on today's performance, I think, forget the online, they were very close there. So let's talk about their performance today. Who's got the edge and by how much?
Well, I think WUSA has shown us some really good ideas, so I would give the edge to them. I will go with 60-40.
60-40 to WUSA.
Yeah.
I'm opposite this time, 60-40 for Kazna. They're going to play steps as a second map. Kazna played quite a bit on it today, so they have some experience. They're also playing Ruinberg. Unless WUSA has something in their pocket, that was not one of their strong feats.
All right, so we have a 60-40 split here on the desk, and I'm wondering, do we know much about what you guys think at home by now? Melly, any idea of what's going to happen?
Well, the only source I can rely on is the community, and they've been already voting. If you haven't voted yet, head over to Facebook and hand in your vote. People voting is very important in real life and here as well. And well, Kazna grew 41%, so it kind of fits with your expectations.
It's really very similar.
Very on point, yeah. So it seems clear on the paper, but it's said so many times today we're on the offlines. And everything is possible here. Everything. We saw a lot of cool stuff, actually.
A lot of upsets, a lot of things that didn't necessarily expect. But you guys at home have been actually really good with this voting. I think that the last game was a testament to how we thought we were wrong. 50-50. It didn't end up 50-50, much like the home view.
So the predictions are about the 5-3, 5-2 mark. So towards school bus, of course. So let's see how that one goes.
Yeah, get your votes in. Remember to give in the expectation of what you think it's going to be. So if you think it's going to be 5-0 or not. So back onto us. Take me through how the banning and picking went, Wilkie.
Well, WUSA won the coin toss. So Kazna were the first team to ban a map. They banned Himmelstor first. Then WUSA banned Morvanka, which is not their best maps, of course. Then Kazna banned Cliff, and WUSA banned Progorovka, like they did last time. They don't feel it's their best map, but they don't feel as confident with the recent changes. So same thing again. So first map, Kazna picks Ruinberg and attacking side, and the second map will be Steps, where WUSA starts as a defender.
Okay, so Ruinberg attack for WUSA. Was that?
Kazna.
Kazna. So Ruinberg attack for Kazna, defending for WUSA. What do you think, Mojo?
I think Kazan has something up their sleeve because they want to play offensive. If they win this and defend, game can be pretty much over.
Yeah?
Yeah, there is something sneaky lying here.
So now we know the maps. Let's just speculate for the first map. What do you think is going to be after this first one? Is it going to be 2-2? We've seen it quite a lot after the first map. Is actually pretty even over it. Or are we going to see 4-0? Like, what sort of result are we going to be expecting to see from this?
Well, to have a chance to go to 60-40 for WUSA, I'm going to say at this point 2-2 after the Ruinberg. But if I look at the statistics, the stat says that Kazna crew should win both maps, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because, like in Ruinberg, Kazna crew's win rate is 75, whereas WUSA's win rate is only 50. And then when we go to Steps, in there, Kazna crew's win rate is 63%, whereas WUSA's is only 55. So in both maps, they are
statistically,
like
yeah,
the
okay.
runner-up.
But do we know? You said they played recently. Do we know what maps they played on in the match day?
Yes, they actually played Himmelsdorf and Steps went pretty better for Kazna.
Right, so if it does get into the second map, that's why they banned Himmelsdorf. If it does into the second map, the edge might go to Kazna, so maybe WUSA really needs to pick up those wins in this battle. So they've really got to focus on this one. Now, I think we're getting some of the tank pickings going on here. We actually know that the T-54 light is picked up again. This is pretty expected. In this map, we expect a lot of T-54s, right? This map is really ideal for those.
WUSA has the same lineup they had when they played last time.
Yeah. In the first game against Penta Sports.
It's identical lineup, and they were also defending.
Okay, well that means that Kazna might have an edge in intelligence, information gathering. They might have watched those games. I'm pretty certain they watched those games, and they might now know the positions. And maybe that'll give WUSA a disadvantage now they've already played this exact lineup on this exact map in this exact position.
Well, we come back to the mind games. Are they going to go straight from the middle road, or are they going to do something else? Mind games.
54s can be used multiple purposes. They can be used on that top red line. And they are really good at cooldown there. So,
what about Kazna's lineup in comparison? Is it a good one for attacking?
Yes, this gives them flexibility to do forward attack if they decide. They have 37, 13, and 254s that can give them push force for that southern cap, and Ice 3 and 250s that can come late. So yes, definitely this is a balanced build that is good in attack and versatile. You can do whatever you want with that.
You agree, Wilkie?
Yeah, of course. Mojo knows his thanks.
I would like to think so. So it looks like both teams are almost ready to go, and we're just waiting for them to ready up. So this can go either way. We know that WUSA really needs these defense, so after these two battles, we'll really know how confident they are. I think that if WUSA drops either of these games, they're going to be in really bad shape. Is that fair to assume?
Yep, of course.
I think WUSA needs one win on this side to be on good road for them.
Oh, you think they're better in attacking in this map?
I think they need to get out of this map, and if they get 2 games, good work.
Okay, so Kazna's working the next. Have we seen Kazna playing on steps today? I don't.
We've seen them.
We have seen. So how was their performance, in your opinion?
While they were attacking, they played school bus, and in defense, they were pretty decent. But while they were attacking, they were spreading too much. But I think they had time to rethink their tactics and apply something different they practiced. Like everyone can, when you go from a different perspective, you can see your flaws and fix it. They are kind of guys that when they cool off, they can do that.
Have they cooled off though? That's the problem. I saw a few of the Kazna players very frustrated with their own performance. I've seen the same with the WUSA guys. I can see it on their face there. I'm not sure. I don't think their morale is low. I just feel that they're very serious right now. A lot of these guys, as we've talked about, WUSA and Kazna are very light-hearted. They're very much happy people, very positive people, but they all seem in the zone. They don't want to be distracted. They don't want to joke and mess around. They all seem very serious. I don't know if that's a mark of low morale or just that they're taking this very, very seriously, more so than ever.
Well, this is the money-making day. You need to work your way from this day through to get to the finals day tomorrow. And, well, I have to say, these first 2 battles are going to be crucial because WUSA just lost a match. So for them, the first 2 rounds are really important because the momentum is starting to build. Like if you lost the last battle and then you're going to lose the first 2 rounds in a row, you don't really feel that confident anymore.
Okay, so I think we're in agreement here. WUSA really needs to win at least the first battle, but the first 2. So we're going to see right now, will WUSA pick up these first 2 battles? It's really important. Lauren and Ollie, take us through it.
See, I'm kind of in a weird predicament here because I'm always the fan of being more warmed up to a stage. I'd rather be in WUSA's position, even off the back of a loss, than Kazna's coming off a loss and then a break. For me personally, I think that that's kind of a good position to be in at times, that you're still in the moment. And I think the important fact that Dorjan and the guys on the desk discussed then is that they get the first round, because that resets everything. That gets that mindset back on point. And now let's put that theory into action. It is the first map. It's going to be Ruinberg, and it will be Kazna on the attacking side. So in red, as we said, over towards the west, and in the east, it's WUSA on the defense. And what do we make of it so far?
Well, very interesting play straight away. It looks like Kazna crew want to go all the way up north. But I think it was well summarized, saying that it's going to be the best attacking team against the best defending team, and whoever does it, their own roles most effectively will be picking up this win here. She's just playing very badly, and Alien punishing. You can see the perhaps fatigue coming into the equation as, that tier 6, not a big deal, does fall though. Remember, WUSA won 3 in a row, twice on defense, 1 in attack against Penta on this map. So they are warmed up into it. They know how to play it. They've been pretty effective on it at this final. So not a great start at the moment. It's also given Kazna crew a little bit more flexibility up north. They got rid of that spotter, and they've also stopped WUSA from being able to get tanks into A6, A7.
Let's see how this one comes through. WUSA, as we noticed, losing Arnsish very early on. Sloppy play from him. Not expected from a player of their caliber. I'd say personally that they should be able to deal with 1 day worth of playing games. I don't think fatigue should come into the issue at professional level, at least to this point. But still, clearly frustrated, clearly learning to get to them. That's not a good sign if we want to get them into this one. On the defensive side, you need that nice, cool, calm attitude to get you into the game. And WUSA so far, kind of polarizing the map against Kazna. It's not been something we've seen very often on this map.
They look pretty uncertain of what to do as well. I mean, you've got Hyber, Runes, and Vetso all in the heavy tanks, which is the heaviest lineup we've seen so far. And the problem with having those heavy tanks is that you can't rotate. So that's why Kazna is clearly a bit wary of going down north or going up north or down south, if we can get it the right way around. Because once they do commit to that, that's pretty much what they're going to be doing for the rest of this battle and the rest of this match. Wilkie said it's very crucial that one of these two do, step up and be able to take this round, and it might dictate how the rest of the maps go down and who actually goes into that second day. As our second team, of course, School Bus, we just saw qualified against WUSA, who are, as you said, playing twice in a row. But it looks like the northern areas where Kazna crew wants to start aiming for, I think it's the best decision because they managed to get rid of Siege, and they also know there's no tanks really in a good defensive position. So a good call so far.
We very rarely saw this work during the online season, though. That northern side kind of, let's say, aggression or positioning didn't really pay out too well for most teams. However, maybe they found a nice way of kind of playing this one out, and they seem to have gone towards that A6 area fairly unscathed. I'm surprised no cross shots, no positioning came in on that one, but then again, no one got really spotted. So at the moment, we actually might see Kazna making something work out of this.
I'll be surprised if they don't make something worse. I guess the big problem for them would be that, see, WUSA are lined up in that E9, E0 area, so the cross shots could come on, and you've got near Pazon and the MX-1390 just ready and waiting in B0 to spot them out. But still, WUSA have got this cap now. The T-37 is making its way towards it, and it's going to be extraordinarily hard for WUSA to actually take it. Kazna crew have the cap, of course. So they have to commit from the south, probably. You can see that T-54 is already moving up north. And I think the best way to decap is actually going across that Crescent Moon Road, but because of the positional play Kazna crew now has, the positional dominance, I should say, it's just going to be a hard slog for WUSA to manage to get back into this game.
It will be, especially with that much commitment from Kazna towards the cap circle. Roofy does find at least some form of position, but the resets maybe not quite coming in as they'd have wanted for WUSA. Still, with on all tanks, like barely taking a shell outside of Sisha's slight error, let's say. And with 23 seconds, you can see the plan starting to unfold here.
Yeah, they have to rotate around the side. They do have enough time. They have plenty of time to get the reset on, but it depends how much they sacrifice for that reset. Ruster's in a perfect position, actually gets caught out a little bit, reversing, but Spoink also receiving a lot of damage, and the push is coming out. The reset will happen, but how much have they lost? Exactly,
it's a matter of time now for Spoink to go down. Runes will find it, but as you said, reset did come in. Stefan takes a little, but Ruster is going to be finding it hard to position himself towards him. Vitillion is there, but Stefan actually being bullied into this. Stefan goes down, and they have lost a lot. 10 seconds on the cap. The reset again comes in. I believe that's from, I'm not sure who that was. It might have been Roofy, actually, who got that one, but still, 7 seconds. This is going to come down to the wire. Again, another shot comes in, and it's starting to hurt now, but Kazna have so much HP to play with.
It's more about the time right now. 1 minute and 44 seconds. I think Roofy might be able to get the reset, if not FKK Schnitzel, but Vetso is not the guy they have to reset. Also, the pressure's on Vitillion in that T-54 down south, and Elian decides to go against Roofy.
Let's see if they can make it happen. The resets are coming in thick and fast. However, it's still down to 10 seconds, and a kill comes through perfectly in time. Elian not able to take down Roofy swiftly enough to give it over just yet. Another reset falls into play. WUSA fighting with everything they can. I'm not sure if there's enough left here. 6 seconds on that cap. It looks like Kazna has done just about enough to secure this one. Surely no shell going to come around. The little pre-fire from the side, and I think the base has been captured. Kazna surely picking up round number 1.
In quite some style, they could have either killed WUSA or they could have capped. They went for the latter. Good play all around from Kazna, but it was almost won before it even started. Kazna crew took down Siege via some bad driving from him. They got that northern cap, and they do, as you said, not something so common by actually capping it out, and just the positions gave him that win.
Yeah, and look at Kazna right now. They're not a team who are joyful about that. This is time to do work. This is 9 to 5 office time for these boys. This is not okay, we made it through in a great spot here. It's okay, we're down to the final chance. We can make it to day 2. We're gonna have to play this as best we can. And there is no celebrating just yet. There's a long road to go, and these guys stand in their way. WUSA still have a lot to prove here, a lot to bring. I think a sloppy start for the man on your screen, sadly, didn't really help out too much. Maybe they can focus up, regain that control. As long as they don't lose that focus, that's the problem here. It's a long day, correct, but you've got to be able to keep those basics completely locked in. That's where you can see the difference between your good up-and-coming teams and then your furthest pros, your school buses, your Na'vis, your teams that are just on that higher echelons who can just go all day long playing these games with absolutely no fatigue, showing real class. However, small mistakes can really add up in these situations, and you will start seeing teams swaying from one side to the other. And Kazna, I guess, are the more experienced side, so you'd assume they may be able to handle this a little better.
One player from Kazna crew has more experience than the entirety of WUSA. I mean, Kazna have literally been... Kazna and Virtus Pro are like the two teams, and I guess School Bus, 3 teams have been in this league since day one, pretty much, in the WGLU. They've got so much experience. I mean, they've been to IEMs, they've been to WGLs, they've been to WCGs, and it's really in these situations where the fatigue, which I guess you don't factor in when you're sitting at home, starts to kind of wear on your brain a little bit, because when you're practicing and you're practicing and you're practicing, you don't realize how much of an effect this kind of environment has on your ability to perform. And just little mistakes like that Sish made while driving don't happen at home that much. And obviously Kazna crew will have a lower chance of those kind of things happening to them. So they're just playing well. They're doing, as you said, they're 9 to 5s. This is what these guys train for. These guys know what to do. And let's be honest here. This has been trial by fire for Kazna crew since day one. They've failed so many times at offline events, I can't even count. I mean, the Kazna curse. IEM Katowice, CBIT, we had Season 1, Season 2. They got it together in Season 3, Season 4. They came 5th. Yeah. So again, they lost it. And now we're in Season 5 finals. Can they actually do something? I mean, can they actually make that experience work for them? Or are they going to be always that team that does well online, but seems to come to these offline finals with a kind of like a lax attitude and like Arete was the holiday team,
It is quite unique, the attitude they're starting to have. It's I don't know. I guess it's almost seeing an esport grow very quickly in a way for some of these guys, going from a game that you enjoy as a community game that you enjoy, just playing casually, then it gets more competitive, it gets more serious, there's more money on the line, it builds and builds and builds, and you're going to see the very defining characteristics between some players and others, that you'll have certain players who treat this extraordinarily seriously. It's it is everything they're playing.
We'll see the big boys who treat it seriously tomorrow. I mean, Virtus Pro.
That's the thing.
I haven't even seen Virtus Pro yet.
I've seen 2 of them walking around.
I saw Just Cause.
Yep.
And I think I saw Breakneck.
Maybe.
Honestly, I haven't seen anyone else. They're in the same hotel as us.
Yep.
Because they've just locked themselves in a room and they're poring over maps. They're playing and they're committed. I mean, to be fair, they didn't do very well, even though they commit a lot, always coming second place. But that's the Virtus Pro curse. They come second place. Yep. I prefer to take something like incredibly seriously and like train a million years and come second at the grand finals.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think the attitude that always impressed me was that people, if you can say you gave 100% regardless of the outcome, I don't think anyone will look down on you on that.
British esports.
Pretty much. It's like you've got to be able to say you tried everything you can, and even if you still fail at the end, it's you can't really be pestered by anyone else because you gave everything you got. And that's one thing I'll give to Virtus Pro. They do give it all that they have, and whether or not they finish first, second, third, wherever they do, you can always see they are 100% dedicated to their cause. Whereas you look on the other side, GG Well Played, have been at the event, clearly watching the games, very focused, not very social, they've been keeping to themselves generally, but keeping eyes on who their opponents may be, where they're progressing to, and it's kind of two different schools of thought almost of, okay, do we try and, internalize this, keep it to ourselves, practice our own skills, or do we keep our eye on the opponents? And it looks like we've got 2 different type of teams in day 2 already waiting. We're still obviously trying to find out who will be joining them. We know one team, School Bus. We're going to find out the other any second now. Hopefully the game will be starting soon. That was a longer break than I was expecting. Maybe trying to just make sure everything's kind of in the right place at the right time. So we are underway in round number 2 here in the final game of day 1 to find out who will be joining School Bus, GG Well Played, and Virtus Pro in day 2. So what are we making from these lineups? Any difference, anything standing out to you?
WUSA going for something pretty heavy. Triple IS3, AMX 5100. Neopazoni not in that AMX 3090 anymore, so I think the overmatch is just going to come out from WUSA. They're going to play basic tank. Sish doing a little bit of a better job, getting down to an A6, and because Pilauda gets spotted, immediately Kazna crew's thinking, okay, WUSA's doing the same thing again, but then they look at their lineup and they think, well, they can't really push up north. The only real place they can be is in that city, in that eastern village, And, well, because of those heavy tanks, it's going to be very tricky for Kazna crew to get into that area. So I like this initial play from WUSA. I think it's going to test Kazna crew a lot with that lighter lineup, but it does depend on Vetso and Runes to get into a good position. And, you know, you're going to have to wait until, you know, probably about the 4-minute mark until that T-37 decides, okay, I've been spotted too many times up north. I'm going to rotate around and go for that southern cap.
It's not a quick game, this one. It will be a cautious play between all of them. You can see shell-for-shell exchanges, but still fairly intricate between these two. And it's been a long road so far for these guys, and it's certainly not over yet. As Pluda getting spotted again, but still not rotating just yet. As you said, around the 4-minute marker, we can maybe expect that one to come in. And would you like to hazard a guess on this one? Do you think WUSA's maybe composed themselves a little more, or do you still want to see a little bit more from them?
Well, it's like a minimal effort lineup. With those heavy tanks, it's like WUSA doesn't really want to try anything crazy and outrageous. They want to be able to play with the maths, with the heavy tanks, with the damage and with the hit points, as opposed to crazy rotation here, there, and everywhere. So I think, you know, I like this. I like the slowdown from play from WUSA. They've been, you know, constantly going forwards, constantly going aggressive, and it does take a toll on your mental stability. Roofy, Vitailen getting the better of Elian in a couple of cases, but you can see that T-54 has a great bouncing ability, and Elian has a great ability to penetrate and not bounce, so definitely a hard thing. That's actually the IS-3 bouncing all those shells. So back and forwards a little bit, but Roofy does receive about 70% damage for his trouble and only makes one back in terms of reply. So definitely hit points sliding into Kazna crew's favor despite those two IS-3s in play.
And there's on the line here between these two. It looks like maybe Kazna are starting to make something out of this. They're adjusting from that southeastern position, or at least southern position. It looks like they may be heading back towards the villages. Is this an adaptation? Is this maybe just seeing where WUSA were? Where are they heading here?
Well, the fact that the T-37's still there makes me think, okay, so really after that initial damage against the zero line, we've done enough to basically not allow WUSA into this game anymore. Let's do what we did in round one, rotate around. They got exactly the same lineup, so they can do it again and assert their dominance in the cap. And because they've done that initial damage, it's going to be very hard for WUSA to come flanking in. It's going to be very hard for them to actually engage and decap, much harder than it was before. So I think that's the general trail of thought from Kazna crew. Still, it's going to take them a little bit more time. They need about another minute, and Seish being there unspotted constantly behind double bushes and trees certainly isn't making their time any easier, but he hasn't spotted Elian yet, and it's definitely too late for him to do anything about that.
Oh yeah, there's already one shell coming in, and there's the second too, and he is down, and this move is swift, and it's gonna start hurting. Already Kazna making it to this village along that A line fairly unscathed. Eden taken a little, but that's from the earlier exchanges. They've actually gained the same positioning while giving away even less, but then again, can they pull it off now? This heavier lineup against them, maybe it'll help out, but Neopazorni already catching a big shell on the cross.
Yeah, he's got to be careful. He is now in a hold down position in the IS-3, but still Elderly Nexus and Elian say, screw that, we're still going to be able to do damage. The one good thing though, the one thing going for WUSA is Spoink, and I believe FKK up north, who in the A0 area can decap quite effectively, but still the actual spots need to come out for them to do that.
And do they really have time to send someone around the position they had before, you know, behind this
Well,
cap?
they can't do that. They don't have any of the light tanks they had before. Remember, it was the MX-39s and the T-54s. Now they got IS-3s. I mean, Roofy, even if he does manage to get around there, he's just going to be crushed within a few seconds. And with that long reload, 11 seconds on the BL9.
Hell, they may have capped by then.
One shell he'll have before it'll be too late.
And look at this time, it is down to 4 seconds. Finally the reset comes in, but look at what cost. Stefan gets melted down to pretty much a one-shot here, 259 HP. Elian right amongst them. There's 21 seconds on that board. Stefan does find Elian. Good shot there coming through, but this one is going to start hurting. However, the IS-3 may just make it round into position to get at least one shell through.
That was a little bit of an individual mistake from Elian. He wanted to take down Stefan, who finally gets found by Vetso, but he actually bounces hell on the IS-3. But Spoink is left alone in that T-54, and Ruster's going to take advantage of that, taking him down.
But still, the base resets are coming through to a degree, but Rune's looking like he's had enough of that pest around the back as he takes down Rufy as the count does continue. 7 seconds. Kazna seems to have found the way around the meta, but finally that T-54 going to come in, try and get that reset, and it does. Battilion finding Paluda here, going to try and do that early work, but he's so low now, down to a one-shot. LD Nexus from the north side takes him down, but the time is still ticking, and sadly, only Niapazoni is left.
Niapazoni kind of out the game. Good work from him, as you would expect. He's the definition of consistency. 2.3k damage done, and he'll probably have about 2.6k once this battle does find its conclusion. But it's going to be Kazna Crew to pick this second attacking round up, as Niapazoni really has so much work to do, and, well, Rust is going to take care of it.
Nicely done overall for Kazna there. Picking it up solidly, kind of doing the same thing twice in a way, but just being smart about it, adapting when necessary. And they started off differently, which I liked, and it kind of drew maybe WUSA into a bit of a sense of security that there was something different going on there. They're playing a different way. They put the positioning, I think it was towards the south a little more, leaving Elian there a little bit, and then going for the city presence. And by that point, those heavier tanks were so out of position for WUSA that there was very little they could do, it felt.
Yeah, all the decisions were right from Kazna Crew, and the lineup was wrong from WUSA, because if Kazna Crew had gone for that southern cap, it would have been a different game because of those heavy tanks. But by going for the northern cap again, even though they probably didn't want to, they basically said, okay, so the only way you can really reset WUSA is by flanking with the light tanks. You don't have any, so they're going to push through the middle, and that's where it all went wrong. So great play from Kazna Crew. They looked like a completely revived team, a renewed team, and a lot better than WUSA, a good 15-20% right now. Picking up 2 attacking rounds on Ruinberg, not particularly indicative, pretty balanced map all round.
Yeah.
But I think it's the perfect start. You can't really ask much for much more because the rounds weren't even that close.
Yeah. I think it was quite a clinical performance from Kazna, which is good for them. I think that's a good grounding point. It's got them back onto this, and it looks like maybe they focused themselves up a bit more. Dorjan, what do you make of that sort of play there? It looks like Kazna may have found that focus they were missing at the start of the day.
Well, I said that WUSA needs to get those first 2 battles under their belt because they're coming off a loss, and now they're coming off a loss with 2 more losses, and ouch. I feel wounded for their behalf. That's not a good position to be in.
Yeah, definitely not. It doesn't look good for them and their morale.
Well, I said before we started, Kazna has something up their sleeve. It's very uncommon to have slow play of this cap done, and they've done it. You could see that it was their intention from the start. Zish was caught on bad position in both games, and that basically broke it. That position is commonly used by a lot of people by 37, but in my opinion it's just too weak because there is no retreat from it, and often you spot them too late.
Actually, the Twitch chat was pointing that out. You guys at home watching were very observant and saying that guy was caught out a lot because that T-37 keeps getting caught out. Now, it's not the player's fault. It was obviously the strategy's fault. As you said, like, take that position. It's probably done by the field commander saying, like, hey, you need to go there. He doesn't really have much of a choice.
He's the field commander.
Oh, so he chose it himself. Okay, so he did get caught out. It's his own fault. I tried to defend him. But the chat was spot on. Every battle, he's been caught out in that position. So I guess stop doing it. I think it's the only way to say it. Like black and white, just stop doing it.
Well, there is a different way to do it with a really aggressive spot and just turning with the tank to see are they rushing. And then you can do slower peaks and whatever. But they chose to play like this. So they will focus, I guess, on their 54s on the other side. And Kazna didn't take a bite. They really played it slow, careful, methodical. You can see they divide positions when they take who shoots where, who does what, who is in cooldown, who is capping. Like the game that was capped, I think it was the first one, you could see really perfect cap going on. One guy was constantly protecting Pilauda from front, other guy was constantly protecting Pilauda from the back. And they had entire map control. They already had tanks, both front and back, covering all approaches. When WUSA actually tried to counterattack through the city, which is a logical move, it's like a chess game, really logical move. They were on point and waiting. They took out one guy before he fired one shell.
Well, we're now going to see the reverse. Is there anything WUSA can do? Obviously, they failed their defense. And, sorry, defense. They failed their defense. So what's next? How do they move from here? They're already down in the gutter. How do they get back up?
Well, the good thing is that WUSA is the attacking team, so Now it's their time to show what they got.
All right, well, it's time for the show what they've got. It's a great way to end it. I feel that we just need to progress forward. And WUSA, your last chance to loon, I think. You got to pick up at least one win from this to have a chance on the next map. So, Laura and Ollie, what do you think is going to happen?
Oh, I'm not sure what I think anymore. After watching that first kind of half there of this one, I'm not too sold. But still, hearing Twitch chat's overarching opinion of how to play tanks always is kind of
good analysis,
endearing.
Good analysis.
Yeah,
Love Twitch.
you know,
Kappa.
2020 vision and all of that.
Yeah.
Kipo
I wish.
actually is my new favorite thing. Like Kappa, I think it's a little overdone. I'm down for
Outdated,
the Kipo.
it's not cool enough anymore.
Guys, hit up the Kipo in chat if you know what it is. It's pretty awesome.
It's the next level meta in Twitch chat. Let's see if they got the next level meta on attack for WUSA.
Let's hope so for WUSA's sake, because they're currently trailing 0-2. Kazna starting to stretch their legs here, looking confident, looking clinical. And let's see if they can keep that up on the defending side. And as you said, WUSA on the attack, and it looks like they mean business here, as Kazna going very aggressive on the defense.
They're aggressive. They didn't really do that much damage against Stefan and Spoink. Only one shell landed onto Stefan, but that's a T-54's hold down ability. And to be honest, well, the position's okay because the rest of WUSA went up north, but I have to be very uncautious. Yeah, exactly. Sheesh is not going down early on at this point. But the T-37 is on its own. That's going to be Plowder to get called out this time. So it seems to be a bit of a commonality.
It does indeed. These trends seem to be happening a lot. Schnitzel does find Paluda. And this time Siege will outlive at least one player. However, Kazna now trailing one in this. They need to find a bit of a way back in this. Maybe feeling very confident, just want to get the job done. And you could see that in the way they kick this one off. However, now they're going to have to deal with WUSA actually kind of doing what they did almost. Maybe not quite to the same degree, maybe not quite the same positions, but to the same effect.
But you've got those two T-54s, which are basically cancelling out the 54s and the IS-3 in the middle. So it's going to be very hard for Kazna crew to actually rotate, but they got Hyber and Vetso in the 5100 and the IS-3 basically there just to make sure that they can have a couple of options to decap this. And Hyber in the hull down IS-3 is going to be an absolute beast. They've got very few seconds left, but Hyber does deliver the goods, does connect, and that's going to give them a little bit more time to play with. And this is the decap I was talking about around the half moon circle.
14 seconds of it, they're going to have to put it off. Vetso just being met with force there. 10 seconds, reset comes in. And here comes Elian, here comes LD Nexus. Look at that damage though. Schnitzel takes him down, and well, this is not so easy, not so simple for Kazna, and they are trailing in HP.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's not going well for Kazna crew because of that initial move, but still, they just have to continue decapping. Hyber's still hull down. Because WUSA hasn't gone up into the A line, A6, A7, A8, it's allowing Kazna crew to kind of assert their dominance, but Vetso is definitely getting is definitely getting the better of Vetso in every single engagement they're having, every single peak they're having, and it's definitely not helping Kazna crew in any way, shape, or form. But FKK Schnitzel's crossfire is unbelievable.
It's unreal. He just got destroyed in that. And, well, so far, I worry now. You give Kazna an inch and they will take a mile and about 4 tanks with them. So, already near Pizzorni now, as you said, doing brilliant work in the 1v1 situation. Look at these shots here. That's brilliant stuff. But now there's a lot more players coming into this effect. Spoink goes for a peek, but he's against the 2 superstars, you could argue, for Kazna, Rusta and Elian. Spoink doing well in this situation. But what can he pull off now? Rusta moves in, gets one. Looking for more, but Rufy is there. Rufy can do a lot of damage in this sort of spot if he fancies to be so low. It's a big commitment. And now those 4 remaining tanks for WUSA have to make their mind up. But Rusta found Rufy, Stefan is low, and this has gone from absolutely brilliant to pretty bad for WUSA.
It's definitely not going well. Near Pizzorni is also on his own. Vetso's just come off reloading that AMX 5100, so easily finds him. Finally does get the better of him as well, leaving only Stefan and Spoink and the 2 T-54s alive on really no hit points at all. Rusta's just going to be able to push in. And as Vetso finds Stefan, last one is Spoink.
And Rusta's going to claim it. Kazna crew 3-0. And WUSA look broken already. And even Elian then shrugging, going, all right, if they're going to give us it, that's fine. We'll win that. I'm not against that. That was just unbelievable. WUSA had the upper hand for, I wouldn't say a massive amount of time, but they were certainly leading it. HP, they had started to make the move. They had everything going in the right direction. What the hell happened?
Well, the big difference, WUSA tried Kazna crew's tactic, but the thing is, Kazna crew had more tanks in the A line, the A6, A7, A8 area, which basically stopped what Hyber was doing in the IS-3, which was going hull down and getting the resets. Hyber was definitely the man of the match there, even though he wasn't Rusta going forwards in the IS-3 and getting the kills. He reset 2 or 3 times. He got some good damage. And that would not have been possible if, for instance, Spoink and Stefan had been there with Nia Pizzorni hull down with the 2 T-54s. So just some communication errors there from WUSA and some positional errors as well. They made a couple of different changes, a couple of different moves. It would have gone a lot better for them as well. And Kazna crew, you got to remember, they bounced like 2 or 3 shells at the beginning against Stefan and Spoink. So they got kind of lucky there, and Kazna definitely weren't in good positions to deal with any kind of attack or defensive move. So it was WUSA's game to lose.
Pretty much, and they did lose it. I think we're pretty much seeing the broken team of WUSA here. It's sad to see because they had such a good performance through those online phases and such a strong way they kind of got to these offline finals. Considering, you know, WUSA were 5th position throughout, you know, qualifying, and they always looked good. They looked solid. They had some brilliant plays, which not seeing that now, sadly. It's kind of fizzled out. It's looking like they're running out of options, and they just don't look animated anymore. They don't look like that kind of collective we saw earlier on. They look pretty down and out, as you can see. It's a very somber affair on that camp, but still, you know, it's all still to do. It's all still possible. We've seen TCM lose, you know, games much more one-sided than this, so don't worry about it. Everything can change. But still, for WUSA to turn this around, is it a matter of attitude now, or is it just a little too far?
Well, WUSA's just been on point, attacking all day long, and you could see then that they just weren't. I mean, even when you saw them on the defensive side, they've had a few bad defensive rounds previously today, but they had 2 really bad defensive rounds, and that kind of gave me that feeling that even on attack, they won't quite be there. They won't be on form. So I honestly think Kazna crew is just going to continue going forwards. They're playing consistently. They're not playing their best games ever, but they are playing
well enough
to beat WUSA at this point in time. And as I said before, experience does pay dividends at the end of the day. And Kazna crew certainly have that swinging towards them. I mean, we still got steps to go. Last round, I mean, that last attacking round has been pretty close. So I think WUSA could pick up one side here, could pick up one round here and make it a 3-1, but a 3-1 is still pretty good for Kazna.
Definitely is. Kazna on your screens, looking towards this round now. They need a nice solid win. WUSA, on the other hand, need anything. They just need to start doing something right. It's just been going so wrong in this final game for them, but hopefully they can pull something out of the bag here for their sake alone. Kazna showing a good performance. Nothing too strong, nothing too bad. Just enough, though. I think it's safety tanks more than anything, playing that kind of smart play until that previous round. But still, when we go into this one, not sure what to make. It has to be WUSA's turn. They have to pull something out here, because otherwise Kazna are pretty on match point going into map 2, which is almost unbearable to play against. So WUSA will be on the attack. Maybe they can pull something out of the bag here, but that is not the good start they want. Already Spoink so low.
You could see the difference between round 1 and round 2 when Kazna crew's defending. The first round they kind of screwed up. They fluffed it against Spoink and Stefan. This time they don't, and Spoink is now a one-shot for pretty much everything, including Siege, sitting at only 193 HP. Siege gets a little bit lucky, and Kazna crew keeps on the pressure. Stefan, a great player, does manage to avoid a few shots, but Hyber and Vetso in those hold-down positions, and it's Kazna to play the same tactic twice and for it to seemingly work out twice.
I was going to say, the T-54s, they split through the middle down the south, utilizing the speed, but then they've seemingly gained nothing, and Vetso still being able to maintain in this sort of position towards the north has negated the advantage maybe that 1390 and 5100 stack had. And I'm not sure where the benefit to WUSA's play is coming from at the moment, because 1, they can't cap, and 2, they can't really beat Vetso and Hyber in these spots.
And Russell's just going to come around as well. Vetso and Hyber have been a good tag team, 2 of the most experienced, and the guys that have been in Kazna crew since day 1 certainly are stepping up, and experience definitely helps. Vitailen coming around the corner at LVBT. It's Eli and Plowder versus Stefan and Vitailen.
Yeah, Vitailen now the one standing in this 1v2. He's got players left, right and center, and it might be Paluda just to finish the job, and well, it'll be Eli to take it from him, but it's Kazna doing that very early damage. And look at the HP difference so early on. 5.5k to Kazna against the 2.9 for WUSA. Ruster just extending that further by landing a good shell there. But Vetso does go down, so maybe there's a little bit of fight left, but there's always that reply, there's always that return kill. And now just 3 remain for WUSA. These guys look just absolutely broken down and just without an answer at all.
WUSA's just getting destroyed left, right, and center. We're seeing the death of a team here right now as Hyber does dispatch of poor performance. FKK Schnitzel again spoinking that T54, the last one remaining for WUSA.
Now Spoink, he knows this one's done for. It's time to discuss, time to think about map number 2, because this is not a map you want to be remembering. Paluda finishes the deal, and that's Kazna on the 4-0 in map number 1. That is a demoralizing scoreline for WUSA, but it's a great result for Kazna so far. If they want to get themselves back feeling confident, feeling a little better about their performance today, this is definitely the road to be on.
And WUSA was the better team on Ruinberg throughout today, and Kazna Crew were the better team on Steps. So it's going literally all the way of Kazna Crew, not only in the scoreline, but also the map picks. And I think the map picks just went in favor for Kazna Crew. I think WUSA kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit with these, both on Steps and Ruinberg, they just have the better stats. And it suits their playstyle a little bit better. Perhaps Kazna Crew is a little bit inexperienced on that first map, but it certainly didn't show. And a 4-0 scoreline does support that.
Yeah, I think this is just a step too far for WUSA, maybe kind of pushing themselves a little bit beyond where they can maybe maintain. I'm not sure. Guys on the desk, you've got experienced LAN players right there with you, Dorshan. What do they make of this? Because it's not looking good right now.
I can only say that it went from bad to worse for WUSA. They must be feeling crushed. Mojo, save me.
Well, WUSA actually had a really brilliant plan on Game 3. It was well executed. Unlike the previous game when they barely escaped alive in 54s, they did a pretty good, a quick spot and tried to turn the Kazna defense. They got on positions, almost Kazna bite their own bullet, which they played for 2 games. But execution then went sour. Somehow, at one moment, I think it was FKK, unfortunately, got on a wrong position, got shot off, and from position where they had HP advantage, they actually dropped down and got circled and choked down. The next game, I don't know, they decided not to change tactics. That was really, really bad idea. Kazna was pre-aimed. You could even see in Ice 3, there is a little hold-down position on B7 next to the houses toward the cap that they all attacked all the games. One guy was already waiting, then pre-aimed. So they aimed the middle where they were coming. They were coming the other way. When they were doing counter-rotation through the middle, the WUSA, they waited there too. Whatever they did, they were already waiting.
Okay.
Well, WUSA tried. They tried to bluff with the T-54 so that Kazna might try to chase them, but at that point, why would you chase them? There is no need. You're the defender. The caps are right there. Why would you chase
Other
the
teams
T-54s?
today have done that exact mistake. And let's just step back a bit to the start. You were 60-40 for WUSA, were you not?
Yeah, what do I know?
Oh, however, I believe for the first time, our audience, you at home were actually quite wrong. What was the votes in the end?
Well, they kind of changed their mind, so they're back to right. It's 60-40 for Kazna Crew. And I, just out of curiosity, that's the word, I looked through the entries, and there are quite few people predicting a 5-0 ending.
Whoa.
So this could be over pretty soonish if the community stays right, which they pretty much did the whole day. So people, thank you very much for participating in our votings. The last vote, that was pretty much this one. But don't be sad, tomorrow there are another chances to get one of the bonus codes we have for participating in those votes and getting the predictions right. And yeah, the vote has closed, but we have other contests running. So don't be sad, there's still enough to win. And one bad news. We didn't reach the goal for the second type 59, I'm sorry. So there's only one, which is still amazing. But yeah, you have to participate in the contest, which is running throughout the whole weekend. Just head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WGLEU. There is a posting pinned on top of the timeline. And yeah, you get all the instructions there, and maybe we'll get it tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's another beautiful day, and we have some 2 great matches going to be today. Whoever wins here will be facing off against Virtus Pro, and we obviously know who's going against GDWP, School Bus, who won earlier today. So we already know we've got some great one anyway. So all I can say is banana. We're going to go see the next battle right now. And can WUSA starve off the shameful 5-0? Can they get a game or two back in their favor? It is match point. Lauren and Ollie, what do you think?
Oh, you just made it even worse. They'd be the only team to lose 5-0. That'd be horrible, wouldn't it?
It would be, but
It'd
it'd
be
also be a reflection of perhaps the state of what WUSA is in right now.
Yeah, we were kind of discussing
So
that.
I don't think it would be undeserved, but this is what happens when you kind of have an inexperienced team. They said it themselves. I've got quotes from these guys saying that their biggest problem is inexperience and just so many young players in that lineup.
You're just trying to back it up so you don't sound like an absolutely mean person.
True.
Right?
It's
That
true.
wasn't what I was going to say.
Actually,
to
the players came up to me and said, "You're really critical about us, but we like it." So
I think you made up that last part.
Maybe they're just scared of me. I don't know.
Maybe.
They don't want to talk to me anymore. But clearly, it's working out for me. But still, 4-0 to Kazna.
Yep.
Unless they literally lose 5 in a row, they're going to be going tomorrow against Virtus Pro, and of course, Corvus is going to be fighting GG Well Played.
Yeah, out of the frying pan into the fryer. Fryer?
Fryer, right? The frying
I'm
pan
hungry.
into fryer.
I'm hungry, man.
To
What
be
can
fair,
I say?
that could also work.
It would. Deep frying doesn't sound
Slightly
great
hotter,
either.
more
Yeah,
like
it-
efficient and stuff. Like, it
exactly.
kind of works.
I think I saw fish and chips on the menu like a couple of days
Yeah,
ago.
I'm not
and
trusting that. How far away are you from the sea? That's every time I see fish and chips on the menu.
Exactly. It's a good point. It's a good point. But out of the frying pan into the fire. Maybe think
You're like
about it. It's a
WUSA
long
right
day.
now.
It's
You
a
just-
long day. It's not even like a slippery slope. It's a vertical drop right now for my brain. However,
A
hopefully
bit like
teams.
Education Schnitzel, you're just sliding off. I'm joking. I love you.
It's not me. It'd be nice to. It's the guy
He's
who's
got
probably
sound
like
cancelling
weeping.
headphones on. It's all good.
Yeah, you see him just like you can see around his neck when he stands up and looks over you. Like he hasn't put them on yet. Ollie.
Medievals. Yeah.
I can't wait to see him walk past with all that sadness and rage, just looking at you, grinning at them. It's going to be marvellous. Anyway, hopefully these guys can pull out something, because 5-0 it's not the way you want to leave an event. After a good online season, a good performance, it's not the final note you want to have remembered. So hopefully, I pray WUSA can bring something out of the bag here, because Kazna are looking good. I don't think they look fantastic. I don't think they've shown us anything spectacular, but they're doing just enough to get this one in the bag. Let's see what that final score is going to be. 4-0 currently for Kazna, looking like they are on point to get into day 2. However, WUSA, can they save anything of this game?
That's the big question. Can WUSA save anything, including their pride in this game? Because 5-0 scoreline would be pretty much unheard of in the finals. But that's what happens in 754. When you lose really badly. Well, it doesn't reflect the previous scoreline between these two teams, which was, of course, 5-4 on match day 10. Now, Kazna Crew's on the attack, so yeah, WUSA does have a good chance here. But Kazna has been really good at attacking on steps, so I'm not quite sure how this one's going to work out.
We'll wait and see. Opening shot does come in towards WUSA, which probably isn't the best way to kick this off, but you got to start somewhere, I guess, and WUSA need this one. This is when you see someone with the backs to the wall. Can they come out swinging, or will they just go down in a heap? We're going to find out in the next 6 minutes. So guys in chat, your thoughts, please. Keep it coming. Twitter, Facebook, all of that good stuff. Keep Melly busy. You know, she really enjoys that. So we'll see what these guys can do. Kazna, what do we make of these lineups here? Are they doing what they should be?
Yeah, the lineups are good. I mean, a good combination of T54s, 251s, and an AMX 3090. Kazna don't kind of saturate themselves with the T54 lightweight like Penta did. And I also have to note that Kazna Crew's doing a lot better job of keeping themselves together, keeping themselves kind of clumped up than they did against School Bus, where they kind of overextended, overstretched themselves, and that's why they lost the attacking round. 2 attacking rounds, I should say. Both of them. They didn't even manage to pick up one. So they've kind of rectified their mistakes a little bit, and that's definitely put them in a better position. You can see the 5916 does look like it wants to go into the G3 area. Ruster's heading up to the Ruster area, which is an A3. And that one T54 is down south to make sure the rotate doesn't come around.
See, it's weird. I always used to think that position was played. It was GG Well Played player. I think it was Dynamo and what was it? There was one other player who used to play with him.
Griffin, Montiavolo.
It was one
Ron,
of the 2. I can't remember which one
Yuri,
it was, but it was one of the 2 that used to play. Okay, that's the whole roster. Calm down. But
Anyone?
But it was always those two that kind of stuck in my mind rather than Ruster, to be fair. But still, Ruster is certainly heading there, so it's a worthy title.
I mean, the thing is about World of Tanks, it's not like some other games where, you know, like a player will spend his whole career in one position. It depends on the spawn, and it depends on what's happening at that very second. Because Tanks is not really about holding corners as much as some other games. So you've got to be a little bit more dynamic, and you've got to be able to play every single position well. But if you do have the option, then of course you send the player that's most comfortable there into that position. That's why Ruster does find himself in A3 a lot.
Yeah, he certainly plays it well, don't get me wrong. It's certainly a talent alien, though, does find Siege. And ladies and gents, it's stuck true to trend. Siege does go down first, so if you want to count the amount of battles that's gone down in, but look at LD Nexus, he's going to be evened up on, and that's a bigger loss there.
That was the perma track there, and that was a massive, massive loss there for Kazna crew. The T-54 for a T-37 unnecessarily, 59-16, sorry, was a big trade and a bad trade for Kazna crew. And to be honest, it would have been a hard match anyway, but losing a tier 8 light tank has certainly made it harder and probably put the spanner in the works a little bit and made a 5-0 just that little bit harder.
Yeah, if WUSA now have every tool at their disposal to do this one, and Nia Pizzoni, though, just going straight out. Are they... Don't throw this advantage away, please. Elian doesn't land the shot towards Nia Pizzoni, luckily in a way for their sake, because WUSA have the advantage finally. They have the upper hand, and if they gave that away for absolutely nothing, it'd be a disaster. Considering Nia Pizzoni, a highly experienced player, but will he be outdone by Elian here? Vetso in the back, holding on to that shell. Makes it now on reload, and it's a tentative situation here, and I don't know how these two tanks are alive. Elian and Nia Pizzoni basically being kept in this by Stefan and Vetso. But we are seeing backup arriving, and that Schnitzel just barreling in here in that 1390, already 1 kill on the board. Taking down LD Nexus a little earlier on, and Schnitzel goes in. He does get down Elian, but at what cost? We've got to see how much damage he receives. So far, warranted.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, big mistake by Elian not taking down Nia Pizzoni, and that was the battle of the two best Polish players on the European server, and clearly Nia Pizzoni got the better of him in a situation where Elian should have won that. And it does allow WUSA to get that second light, tier 8 light tank down, and well, Ekake Schnitzel's taken a lot of damage from Vetso. You can see Plowder in that 59-16 doesn't want to come in, and Hyber's going to try and clean up.
Schnitzel single-handedly was trying to keep his team going in this one. However, he does finally go down. We're seeing the rest of Kazna focusing their attention towards Nia Pizzoni, and it looks like they want to bring the game to WUSA. Currently, Kazna do just have the HP advantage here, which is surprising, but let's see what they can make of it. Runes finds Nia Pizzoni. 4 now alive for WUSA. Can they bring this one through? They desperately need it.
Yeah, Rune's making a shot against Vitainen. The push does come out from Kazna crew. Ruster's got the most amount of HP, so he is leading the charge, but Vetso's got full HP as well, but he's only got 4 shells left in that autoloader. But despite Kazna crew losing that T-54 lightweight, it's still 4 versus 4, and I think it's pretty even at this point in time. 1 minute and 27 seconds left on the clock, and Kazna crew don't look like they want to slow down.
They're going for this one, and they need to make this count. They want to get this one done and dusted, get the job done. And look at Vetso just roaming around looking for these guys. He's going to spot out Roofy first. Near and ignore him. Go for Stefan. Can he try and take him down in time, though? Can he get the shots in? 2 coming through. Hyber supports, takes down Stefan now. So 4v3, advantage to Kazna in numbers, but HP certainly in favor to WUSA, especially with Roofy still on the board. But Ruster looking dangerous, goes down, Roofy claims it, and this is not going so smoothly for Kazna now.
Yeah, massive, massive mistakes by Vetso. He actually missed 3 shells in that engagement, and that's definitely cost Kazna crew Roofy's life, and maybe even this game, as Vetso and Hyber left on not too much HP, but Vetso's still reloading. Got to remember that, but Vitainen finds Hyber, leaving only Vetso and that MX-1390 alive, 3 versus 1.
Yeah, a lot of missed shots there. You can see the amount he's taken to the amount he's hit, and not having the best performance of his life. I don't think he can really do this on his own. 734 HP on Spoink alone, 458 on Vertilion, 20 seconds to do it. I think this might be the round that WUSA finally go on the board, and already Roofy finding 1. And there surely will be 1 to follow, as Vetso knows what's up. He knows that this one may be done for. There we have it. Roofy does take him down. WUSA finally get around on the board and save a little bit of face.
Yeah, they have a little bit of pride. At least they can probably still lose this one. Maybe win it, like very unlikely.
Maybe.
But probably lose it. But still, good play from WUSA. I mean, obviously the mistake was that LD Nexus went down. I thought Kazna crew fought back well. But being that tier 8 light tank down was a huge factor. And also Elian missing that shell against Nia Pazzoni, another big factor. And you add those two together, and it made it a 3 versus 3 situation. But Rufy was playing that T32, and when you're pushing against a T32 like that, it's a hard situation to win, especially when Vetso's missing those shells.
Yeah, it's definitely quite difficult, and it has allowed the 4-1 scoreline. If there was any other team, I'd probably say there's a chance for a turnaround here. But Kazna, you think of out of the 3 next times they'll have a go at this map, whether it be attack or defense, they will pick up 1. At least you'd assume, right? That's pretty much how I would look at this one, is picking up in that sort of manner. However, maybe there's a chance here for WUSA. Maybe they can build off the back of that. They still don't look exactly content with picking up 1, and you can't blame them. You don't want to be in this predicament. Regardless of picking up 1 round or not, you still don't like being 4-1 down. But hopefully, they can maybe find a little more going forward, make this a little bit more respectable, a little closer. Maybe Kazna can get a little complacent.
Placement and
been a long
complacent put together. I think we should add that to the road, along with, what is it?
It's just
Defense library or something?
historical outlet.
Historical outlet, that's the one. Not defense library.
I missed that. Why have we not had that today? Is it she'll do like analysis stats kind of stuff?
I don't know, maybe.
Would that be?
Or maybe I just added 2 words which I should have perhaps not added together.
And I've corrected myself.
Particular second. But still, we can. There's plenty of time for me to say stupid stuff, Lauren.
There is tomorrow.
There is another day tomorrow which I can say stupid stuff in. But we have to see. I mean, I see a long, hard road for WUSA, but these comebacks do happen. I mean, TCM lost against Virtus Pro 4 rounds in a row on Prokhorovka, being 3-1 up.
TCM. We can't use them as examples.
Well, they fight against each other a lot, and Kazakru's one of their main sparring partners is TCM. But yeah, it's true. I mean,
TCM are just.
The problem with TCM is that they got Still Mojo at their helm, and that definitely doesn't help them out because the IS3.
He's far away enough. He might not be able to throw something at you.
The IS3. I mean, I don't know, man. Sometimes you have to hit those shells. I mean, you know.
Wow,
I love you still, Mojo.
buddy. That chair's going to come flying at you
It's a good
soon.
20 meters here. I don't know.
He's not even looking at you. All the others giggling away.
He knows I love
Mojo,
him.
no eye contact. Oh, all right. We can
Still Mojo's going to get me back. It's
he
all right.
will. He
It'll be
100%
50-50.
will. He's such a gentleman normally, and now there's going to be something scathing coming back towards you now, and you deserve it all. Anyway, well, these rudeness aside, we are just waiting on these teams to get themselves prepared into round 2. I don't know what it is between them with round 1 and round 2 that they like to take their time with. Like, I don't really know what would change between 1 and 2, apart from WUSA actually winning 1. Obviously, that's changed. But they always seem to like to take their time adjusting, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly why. I see an admin over towards the Kazakru side, so maybe
We can always blame the admin.
you can see them. That's our admin junior on your screens there. Does a great job, of course. Just making sure everything's okay with Kazakru.
Yeah.
So let's see what they can do. I mean, that's the beautiful Croatian flag on your screen. Vetso, along with his Serbian counterparts, is one of the core members of Kazna, and there's Palaudas to your left. And the only guy who doesn't seem to really be playing today from that main lineup is Kobler-Rion, Melly's favorite player. I mean, if we look at his kind of playing history
you're
throughout the
everyone
season,
out right now, aren't you? Don't try
I'm
and
in
cover it
trouble.
with like stats
He's
right
played
now.
10 times this season, 10 match days.
Melly does like a player, doesn't she? Damn.
It's true as well. I mean, a core player as well. 10 times in a row. I mean, Palaudas played 10 as well, so it's 50-50. And I think it's just that performance at the offline event that kind of swings.
So I think you're going to get punched by Still Mojo. I think Melly's going to punch.
I think I'm
as
going to
well.
get slapped from Melly and probably a punch from Still
Oh, so
Mojo.
you're okay. Oh, that's fair
Yeah,
enough.
into
That makes
the
sense.
from the fry from the frying pan into
You
the fryer.
mocking me for being
as well.
tired after a hold there.
I'm just saying.
Well, I think we've had the wonderful knowledge that the game is beginning. I know that round 2 can be difficult in map number 2, WUSA, but I'm glad it started up. Same for you, Kazna. However, guys at home, do make sure you get involved once again. Hashtag WGLEU. Let us know your thoughts on our inane waffling. I know it's gone downhill. Normally this kind of happens a lot sooner during the online season. We made it to the last game.
We've done well. We've done well. I mean,
We didn't go down to spaghetti talk.
we've got plenty of time for that as well. I don't see any lemons around, so Mitch might have to try and switch
Mitch
it
is
up.
a bit of a lemon anyway, so he kind
I
of does.
see what you did. That was
No.
good. I like it.
No worries. Alrighty, let's focus up, picks. We are back into the game, so it's kind of what we're here for, rather than us talking absolute nonsense. And this time around, it's going to be can WUSA keep this up? Can they build? They got 1 round now. Can they make it 2? and you know, so forth and so on, counting and all that stuff. WUSA on the defense, Kazna on the attack. How's this one starting out?
Well, let's hope Kazakru doesn't get impatient, because I kind of feel that they did in that first round. And
I agree.
either that impatient has built another 10%, or they've kind of thought to themselves, okay, like, we didn't 5-0 WUSA, but let's 5-1 WUSA. You can see Rufy, Spoink, Stefan just straight away trying to go up north, maybe trying to catch out Hyber, expecting Kazakru to be really defensive, but it's hard. Russa does receive 2 shells straight away, and Vetso as well gets a little bit of damage towards him. 519 is quite a lot, actually. But he's still hauled down, he's still okay. Once he goes unspotted after about 10 seconds, he should be safe and happy to go forwards. But the spots do come out again. You can see the 59-16 and the T-54 from Kazna crew are heading up through the middle, and I think there's 2 251s will be joining them shortly.
I'm very interested to see how this one plays out. Very different tactic styles, all of these kind of elements differ between team to team, and even round to round. It's great to witness, and difference this time around, Sish isn't dead yet, so that's a certain bonus already for WUSA. Near Pizzoni, oh my god, he's catching a lot of damage, and I always kind of write out that 59-16. It can still chip away at these guys. It's certainly not a tank of just for getting the cap on, and they're already getting a nice start here. Near Pizzoni goes down very early on, and that is a big blow for WUSA.
And Sisha will surely follow in that 59-16. Does a lot of damage, 10 seconds reload, but 115 per shell is just not enough, and also 590 now, actually, I think they changed it to, from 580. So it's going to be 2 tanks to fall straight away for WUSA, and it's going to go all the way for Kazakru at this early stage of the game. They're also getting map control. They switched into T32, so they're going to put that hull down, which hasn't even got in the game yet, and Kazakru already winning.
It's funny, Schnitzel was one of my favorite players in this originally when he started to toy with it. Much like Cliff, however. Not sure on this one, but still. Kazna looking decisive in this one, looking a little bit more focused here. Runes does catch a shell there from Battalion, but still, see how they take this. You can see the map adapting, the battleground being redrawn. LD Nex has taken a massive shot from Schnitzel there, and that's why I love this guy in that tank. He can make game-changing plays. Alien taking a bit of damage too, and he's out in the open. I don't know what sort of mission Alien's on, but he's just going to be trotting straight forward towards these guys. A little bit of fire, trying to put himself there as bait, but he's taking a lot for that. Schnitzel does not get his shot, and this is just a strange game.
Yeah, they get a little bit of impatience, and Rufy managed to take down Runes. I'm not sure exactly why Runes didn't just to stay safe behind that rock area, but clearly they're not wanting to do so, and Alien receiving so much damage, and that initial engagement, which went so well for Kazakru, has just been wasted via driving through the middle of the field as Alien falls in that T32.
Yeah, so right now, Kazna 3.5k, WUSA 3.3, but WUSA are on the defense, so they can chill out a little bit more. They just need to keep the eyes on that cap. Make sure that doesn't come out right underneath their noses, and already we are seeing the mobilization of Schnitzel, Spoink, and Rufy all down that center point, going to be joined by that T-54 Stefan on the western flank, and they're looking for the cap. They're looking to see where this guy's. It's been stopped, and they hold. They don't overcommit. It looks like WUSA's actually starting to find a little bit of kind of pacing here. They're starting to kind of read the game a little better than they were. However, Kazna, do you reckon getting a little impatient? Because Stefan just made it away alive, just.
Oh, and he also just detracked himself. That was a little bit fast and furious from him, but he gets away with it. Hyber, Rusta just chasing him as quickly as possible, but maybe Hyber and Rusta don't expect Schnitzel and Spoink to be in support. Spoink's been absolutely amazing. I don't think he's really going to make an error, and as you said, it looks like WUSA are starting to find some pacing in this game. They always just needed to get one round on the belt, and they seem to be all right.
I'm surprised Schnitzel didn't expect maybe Rust or a Hyber to follow to continue chasing Stefan, but he's ready, as is Rufy. The shells prepared. But will this commitment come out, or has Kazna already predicted this? As tanks moving up that 5-line, Schnitzel starts to peer. Rufy as well, they're looking for it. They're starting to get into this one, maybe falling for the trap. Maybe this is Kazna's plan all along. Where are they going to come from? Can they find the damage? Already 3 shells now coming in. Rufy overextends maybe a touch. Vetso on the flank as well. They're going to have to readjust, find these positions. Hyber from the back gets one, takes down Spoink. And maybe this has just gone very badly for WUSA.
Unbelievable that Schnitzel actually bounced on Vetso in that 2-5 in the is it T-54 actually? That's not unbelievable at all. But if WUSA pushed in early, it might have been okay. But Kazakru have them now.
Yeah, Schnitzel takes down Paluda, but it's maybe not the target they wanted. Rufy very low, goes down. Hyber finding him, and now it's just 2 alive. Battalion and Schnitzel. A shell comes in towards each of them. Pretty much one-shots around here. And there we go, Rusta finds one. The last man stands for WUSA, the last chance here. And I think he knows this one is done and dusted. Ruster claims it. And ladies and gents, it's Kazna making their way through to day 2.
Final scoreline between Kazna Crew and WUSA is going to be 5-1. It's not a 5-0 clean sweep, but Kazna Crew do make it look easy, finally doing the business and taking down one of the rivals of the season in quite some fashion, winning that second round on attack on steps. And a little bit of breakdown. If WUSA had pushed against Ruster and LD Nexus, it would have been a different story, but they were tentative, and it allowed the rest of Kazna Crew to reformulate, regroup, and push in for that final kill.
Yeah, now Kazna may be able to breathe a sigh of relief almost, making it to where you'd kind of hope to see them. And I'm hoping tonight they sleep a little better than maybe the day prior, because they need to come in fresh-faced into day 2 here, because they're going to have a big opponent waiting them. And there's no kind of hiding that fact that it's great getting through today, it's a good performance, but now you've got Virtus Pro in day 2. Not an easy opponent. So, all in all, today a bit of a rough road, I feel, for the Kazna guys. Not maybe as smooth as maybe they'd have expected.
I think Kazna Crew, as I said before, needs to take this a little bit more seriously. I think,
I agree.
you know, they should have definitely got an earlier night's sleep, and it definitely bit them in the behind at the beginning. They struggled a lot. They struggled against School Bus when they should have won. They did come up through the losers bracket and finally being out WUSA there. So I think they had a lot of things to learn, surprisingly, considering this is their 10th offline final. But they finally do deliver the goods, and you could see the difference between experience and inexperience. I said it in that first map. Kazna Crew won because they have been in this position 1,000 times before, whereas WUSA haven't really been here before. I mean, they've been to WCG, which only have a couple of players left in this lineup. They've been to the grand finals again. They've had quite a lot of roster changes since then. So it's really a new team, and I think it shows.
Yeah, there was just the fatigue seemed to get to them a little sooner than maybe expected for WUSA, which is a shame because they're probably one of the most promising teams online, maybe in line with Penta as well. These two teams showed such prowess through the kind of online phase, however, lacking maybe some of the that kind of little bit extra that kind of takes you through these offline events. Hopefully, though, next time around, there'll be the new teams coming through that can really show these guys how to play. And I think that's what I'm going to be looking towards, seeing how maybe next season they come into this, do the same again. Can they then bring it through to the offline kind of phases there? I think they can do. I think the Penta, sadly, kind of went out too early almost for my likings. I'd love to have seen them go a little further, see what they could have brought, because I felt they never really got warmed up into this one as well. So, you know, WUSA had a good chance. They fought bravely. They got as far as they could. But I feel there's so much more we could have seen from Penta.
I 100% agree with you there. I mean, really do agree with you. I mean, in Season 4, yes, they went down to that lower bracket via School Bus. But the thing is, once they were in that lower bracket, they won that game, and then they just went all the way into Day 2 and beat Evil Panel Squad in the small finals to take third place. But they just needed that one win in the small finals. And, you know, I was talking to the Kilzer after the battles, and he just said a couple of individual mistakes on Prokhorovka, and it lost it for them. They could have been 3-1 going into the next round. So it's just, again, just a few mistakes, and you lose it all.
Yeah, and lucky for Kazna. Maybe not lucky, I'd say, but certainly due to Kazna's brilliance there and the kind of, I don't know, endurance they showed in that last game, ready to take them through. So, guys, let's get to the stage for that final interview of the day with Mitch.
Well, what a situation we have here on the main stage. Kazna Crew made it through to Day 2. Of course, commiserations to our friends at WUSA. They fought valiantly, but pipped at the post by our friends here. I'm here with Ruster from Kazna, and you know, you guys look really focused in that game, but as you sort of said to me a little bit earlier on, the atmosphere was a little bit more relaxed than it was in your game against Penta. Do you know why that was?
Yeah, probably because we won against Penta. I mean, we were all kind of relaxed, quiet, but we were really focused as well. I personally had like a momentum when we won versus Penta, like the first win on offline. Like this gives you quite a huge momentum, which is also really important here. You know, you can win against those teams. That shows you that you are kind of good, I would say. And yeah, that kind of helped us here, and also to keep cool, to keep calm, and yeah, so we won them.
Now let's talk a little bit about that last map, because it was a different approach that you have normally on steps. I mean, the last time you went sort of to A3 on that first attacking map, you sort of pushed out towards the top of the map. This time you actually snaked your way down the mid-road. You came down the road and you sort of poked up and had some shots across at the east side. And then we had a situation where Ilian was pushing across the field and got decimated essentially, and everyone was sort of thinking that you guys were going to be in trouble there, that you might struggle to bring it back, but you turned it around. What happened there? Was there a change in tact, a change in approach, or did it just work out the way you planned it?
I'm not sure, but I think that some guys thought we have it already after we took out the Siege, the Tier 6, and the 3090. We had 2 tanks advantage. I think some guys thought we have it for sure already, so that they kind of made some mistakes. That's why it was actually close in the end. But then we just said, hey, this is not won yet. We need to still be concentrated, and so we just took our shit together to say, and we still won them.
Well, you did indeed. Thank you very much for joining me, Ruster, and congratulations. Go easy tonight, mate. You've got a big day of games tomorrow. Let's pass it over to our experts very, very quickly. I'm sure there's plenty to say about this one.
Thank you, Mish. There is plenty to say. I have to say, to me, #game thrown at the end there. I can't believe WUSA threw it away. It felt like they definitely had that in the bag, and it didn't work out for them. But they did get one. Take us through that first game. They actually got the point.
Well, there were just too many rotation by Kazna, and eventually they just fell to their own play. They forced themselves to play against the cooldown 32, to brawl. There was some bad shooting in the end, and just ended it badly. But I didn't even have a feeling during the game they were trying hard.
Yeah?
I think they already saw them. We won.
It feels that way. It feels like WUSA had been, as I said, the first 2 games, the first map especially, was really important, and so many losses in a row. It is hard to keep focus for that time.
Yeah, true. And even in the second map, Kazna got 2 tanks for free in the beginning of the round. And then they were like, okay, we won this, let's YOLO from the middle. And then WUSA got the moment to get it back. Alien went with the 32, straight across the field and got killed. And then WUSA rotated to the west side of the map. Kazna rotated with 2 tanks to the west side of the map. There was the window of opportunity for WUSA to win the game, but they didn't take it. But Snitchel was shooting the middle, and if they would have clashed to those 2 tanks with the 4 tanks at that moment, WUSA would have had a chance. But now they just threw it away. So both teams had it true.
It is true. I think they got a bit sloppy. Maybe it was fatigue, but I think that is the end of today, and we have to look forward to tomorrow, because tomorrow we are going to be playing or seeing some epic games. We do have School Bus versus GG Well Played, and we have now Kazna versus Virtus Pro. It's going to be absolutely amazing. That will be at 1 o'clock local, and I believe 12 o'clock Central European. But from us at the desk, thank you guys for being amazing today. Your insights being on key most of the time, and that's not a dig, Wilkie. It's okay. You're fine. But thank you for being. I hope you've enjoyed the day. It's been some amazing games.
Yeah, live long and prosperous.
Yeah, rest in peace, Mojo.
Well, I'll just have to pull a Mr. Mojo on Young Laughter and educate him a bit. Since you forgot completely, we actually lost 3 games in a row. Well, it's not any better, but it's a fact against Virtus. But also TCM is the only team in the league that took 3 points from GGVP and 1 from Virtus. Not even Virtus did that to GGVP. So, see ya.
Yeah. I'd like to say how many games that Ollie played in the league the last few years. How many games is that, Ollie?
Did he even play tanks in the last few games?
I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, we have Melly as well. Thank you for being here.
It's been so amazing, and the feedback from the community was so nice to read. So people, thank you very much for your involvement, and thank you for staying with us the whole day. It was amazing. And as said, we love reading from you. Keep the tweets coming overnight. We will read back all of them tomorrow morning, I guess.
Actually, I've got a little challenge. For anyone who's still watching it this time of night, or after the games are all finished, tweet at us, banana. #WGLEU. Just I want to see how many of you are still there. Or flood the chat if you don't have Twitter. Sounds like a fun thing to do.
Absolutely.
Is anyone even watching? But anyway, we will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock local or 12 Central European time. Thank you and good night.